What's going on, my beautiful governors? Welcome to Spartan Gaming. Today we will discuss, should you invest on Alexander the Great in 2022?
Nope.
Since the release, Alexander has been literally one of the greatest commanders in Rise of Kingdoms, but back in the day, we had less commander options. Now we have bunch of new legendary commanders. We even have legendary versions of some epic commanders. So we have a lot of options to compare to past. And some of those commanders are stronger than Alexander. However, Alexander is still a unique commander with a lot of benefits. Let's start with pros of Alexander, then we move on to cons and his best pairs in Rise of Kingdoms. By the way, tell us what you think about Alexander as an investment in 2022. Have you maxed him or maybe you just skipped him completely? Let's hear your investment levels and reasons. When I think about Alexander, the first thing that comes to my mind is versatility. You can literally use this guy in every single game mode and he will perform quite well. Openfield is great, leading rallies in early KVKs, one of the best, Ark of Osiris, must have in my opinion, PvE events such as Ceroli, Ian's Ballads, Arms Training, etc. Yes, Sunset Canyon and Lost Canyon, again one of the best. The only thing that I don't recommend using Alexander is city defense, and that's it. He's a beast when it comes to the rest of the stuff you are going to do while playing Rise of Kingdoms. And his versatility is not just about the game modes you can use him. Everything about Alexander is just versatile. Let me explain you what I mean. You can pair this guy with almost any Openfield Infantry Commander. Guan Yu, Harold, CJ, even in early KVKs you can use him with Richard I or even Charles Martel. All are great pairs. Of course, there are some pairs where Alexander performs a lot better, but we will discuss that in pairing section. For now, just know that he's very versatile when it comes to his commander pairings. And actually, this is also a quite common pair. Alexander primary, Yi Song secondary. I even remember that people were using Genghis Khan primary, Alexander secondary. He just simply goes really well with bunch of different commanders, which is a super helpful perk to have, especially for free-to-play and low spenders in Rise of Kingdoms. Oh, and he really doesn't care if he's primary or secondary. He has the perfect talent tree to be a primary commander, but he doesn't have any skills that forces him to be primary. For example, Guan Yu, if you take a look at Guan Yu, his first skill deals 2k damage when he's primary and only 1k when he is secondary. You have to use Guan Yu as primary, otherwise you're just wasting his power. Alexander, on the other hand, can be a primary or secondary, it doesn't matter. Enough with his versatility, let's move on to the next pro. Alexander is very accessible and easy to max for low spenders. First of all, he is an early game commander, which means you will be able to summon him and invest some sculptures on him very early in the game. He is also a Wheel of Fortune commander, so anyone with a few gems can summon him. You can get his sculptures in every single event in the game, whether it's Wheel, Card King, Legendary Tavern. You can even get them from the daily chests, not a problem. And not only he is easily accessible for anyone, he is also perfectly usable with all sort of investments. I've used my Alexander as 5111 and 5511 for a few months and 5551 for a very long time before I had enough sculptures to expertise him, and I was super happy with his performance in every stage of the game. Alexander is also a very balanced commander in my opinion. I love balanced commanders. He doesn't have the greatest tankiness in the game, or he doesn't deal crazy amount of damage, but he has a shield for himself and his allies. He has great march speed. In fact, he is one of the fastest infantry commanders. He has 1700 direct damage and healing effect reduction. He has attack bonus on top of everything. He has a AoE debuff, which is very useful in open field fights. If you take a look at his expertise, you will see the debuff. This is super big in big open field bros and Ark of Osiris in the middle fights right before Ark spawns. Having some amount of Alexander during those fights helps you a lot when it comes to victory. AoE buff, AoE debuff, direct damage, march speed, you name it, shield. He's just a complete package. What the hell, Spartan? Stop praising Alexander. He's not the best commander in the game. Of course he's not the best commander in the game. He has some cons just like any other commander in Rise of Kingdoms. So, what are the cons? He is just not as strong as the latest commanders such as Nevsky, CPO or Boudica. This is a general con for early commanders, by the way, all of them. None of them is stronger than the latest commanders, but still, we don't have unlimited legendary sculptures.
Oh, hello there!
So every sculpture you invest on Alexander is going to make it harder for you to max the latest and the greatest commanders. So, should you invest on Alexander in 2022? The answer is yes, if you are in the early stages of the game, and no, if you are already in Season of Conquest and you haven't invested any sculptures on Alexander yet. In early game, you cannot just sit there and wait for months without investing on any commander. If you do that, you will waste 3 KVKs, KVK 1, 2 and 3. You will underperform extremely during all sorts of PvE events where you can get a bunch of in-game goodies, which is not ideal, and I definitely don't recommend that. So during early stages of the game, you can definitely summon and invest on Alexander. He will get you a bunch of kills in Openfield. He's able to lead rallies. He will make your canyon lineup much better. However, like I said, if you are already in Season of Conquest, you haven't invested on Alexander yet, just skip him for now. You have better options such as Guan, CPO, I don't know, maybe even Pakal and Herald if you are interested on getting lots of kills with small hospital builds. Card up in the top where we compared Attila and Nevsky and Pakal and Herald. In future, we might reconsider this investment even in Season of Conquest if he gets a very powerful relic boost. His second con is he's just not the best primary or secondary for any of the top commanders. For Guan Yu, we have Leonidas or CPO. For Herald, you all know it, we have Pakal. I think CJ is the best commander to pair with Alexander right now. I mean, CJ is probably the only commander that is perfect when you pair with Alex, but he is not a top tier commander. He doesn't worth the investment by himself, so that pair is irrelevant in my opinion. But if you are in the early game, or if you just enter Season of Conquest and you need a temporary primary or secondary commander for your latest and the greatest commanders until you can gather some sculptures for your prioritized commander projects, here are my top Alexander the Great pairs for Openfield. Richard the First primary, Alexander secondary, or the opposite depending on your needs. Richard primary is more tanky, Alex primary is more offensive. This is an OG infantry march, terrorizes the Openfield in early game. Great march, 100% recommended. Second option is Alex primary, YSG secondary. Since primary commander is Alex in this pair, we are going to use 100% infantry. Again, a great Openfield march and a great rally in early KVKs or even in early civil wars. One of the best Alexander marches, Guan Yu primary, Alex secondary until you can replace your Alex with a Leonidas or a CPO. By the way, based on my experience, Max Guan Yu and 5511 Leonidas performs better than Max Guan Yu and Max Alex in the open field, but you can definitely max your Guan, pair him with your Alex until you get your Leonidas to at least 5511. Next pair is Herald and Alexander. Let me find my Herald. There he is. I use it as Herald primary. You can test both and decide yourself which one you want to use as primary or secondary. I personally prefer Herald as I said, but both options are perfectly fine. You can use this march until you get a CPO or a Pakal to pair with your Herald. Here we have it, pros, cons, best pair and investment options for Alexander the Great in Rise of Kingdoms in 2022. If this video helped you out, a simple like and subscribe would be amazing. And if you are looking to get more kills in Openfield, make sure to watch this video where we compared pros and cons of Attila and Nevsky and Pakal Herald pairs. Thank you guys so much for watching. I see you on the next one. Bye.